Hello, and welcome back to Last Week Beyond Earth. I'm your host, David, and with me, as always, is Zach.
Hello. This episode is covering September 14th through the 20th. We are going through SpaceX Drama to NASA contracts. So let's get into it.
SpaceX is butting heads with the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration after that agency announced a $630,000 fine. The fine is due to the company allegedly skirting regulations during two launches in 2023. The violations occurred on a launch of a Falcon 9 in June and a Falcon Heavy in July. According to the FAA, the Falcon 9 launch used a new control room as well as removed a readiness poll that was supposed to be conducted 2 hours before launch, and neither of those modifications had been approved. The Falcon Heavy launch used a new propellant farm that had likewise not yet been approved. SpaceX is pushing back by sending a letter to Congress to dispute the allegations and the fines. In the letter, they point out that no regulations were broken by the removal of the readiness poll. The letter also points out that the agency issued a waiver for the propellant farm for the August 2023 launch of Crew 7. Finally, the letter also criticizes the FAA and says that they are holding back the American launch industry. That feeling likely comes from the slow pace at which the FAA has allowed SpaceX to conduct Starship test flights. The last one occurred in June, with SpaceX saying that they were ready for the next one to be prepared for August. However, it looks like the FAA won't allow Starship to launch until November as they review changes made from the June test flight.
NASA has awarded a contract to lunar exploration company Intuitive Machines. The contract will see IM working with NASA on their lunar relay system. With NASA looking to return humans to the surface of the moon with the Artemis program, having reliable communications is vital. The use of the relay system will allow communications with Earth at all times. Additionally, the system can be used to help with navigation on the lunar surface. The contract is a firm fixed price, multiple award, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity, task order oriented contract. The time frame is 5 years, starting October 1st, 2024, and going through September 30th, 2029. There is an option to extend the contract an additional 5 years, ending in 2034. The contract has a maximum potential value of $4.82 billion. Intuitive Machines is looking to use this contract to debut their lunar satellite constellation. Not only will the network be usable by NASA, but IM plans to provide this network as a service to other customers on the lunar surface. This service is alongside their plans to deliver cargo to the moon's surface through the use of their lunar landers, the first of which successfully landed on the lunar surface in February.
Sierra Space announced that their carbothermal oxygen production reactor was able to successfully complete thermal vacuum testing at the Johnson Space Center. The test resulted in the machine successfully extracting oxygen from lunar soil simulant under environmental conditions similar to those found on the lunar South Pole. It also demonstrated that it was able to successfully complete the task autonomously. The technology can be scaled up to help support establishing a long-term human presence on the moon. Being able to produce oxygen on the moon means that less oxygen would need to be transported from Earth. The extracted oxygen can also be used as a propellant to help further the exploration of the stars.
MDA Space, a Canadian space company, has announced that they are expanding their satellite production facility located in Quebec. The facility will gain a total of 185,000 square feet, making it one of the world's largest satellite production facilities. Once completed, the location will be able to produce 2 Aurora satellites per day. MDA already has plans to start production at the expanded facility. Stemming from an agreement signed in August, MDA will start producing 198 satellites for Telesat, a Canadian satellite communications company. Additionally, MDA is looking to add 600 high-tech jobs to the region to meet the growing demands of the space industry. MDA expects to begin production in the expanded facility in the later half of 2025.
Polaris Dawn, the private space flight, returned to Earth on September 15th. Splashdown of the capsule occurred around 3:37 a.m. EDT near the Dry Tortugas in the Gulf of Mexico. Polaris Dawn set a number of firsts, including the first spacewalk by private civilians. According to Blue Origin's Jarrett Jones, the company is expecting to have 8 to 10 launches of the New Glenn in 2025. The launch cadence is then expected to increase to as many as 24 in 2026. This was announced at a panel during World Space Business Week, where several companies with new rockets discussed plans for new launch cadences. Eutelsat, a satellite communications company, and Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, a Japanese rocket company, have signed an agreement. The agreement will see MHI launching Eutelsats on their new H3 rockets. The first launch of the agreement is set for 2027.
A task force of European agencies and companies have announced the results of an investigation into an anomaly that occurred during the first flight of an Ariane 6. The anomaly occurred when an auxiliary power unit failed to ignite during the second stage. This was due to flight software shutting the unit down after detecting higher than recommended temperatures. Steps to correct the anomaly have already begun testing. Planet Lab, a company with a focus on Earth observation and data collection, announced on September 16th that they had signed a contract with the German Space Agency. The contract would see the company providing their services and data to the space agency for a period of 3 years. More out of the World Space Business Week, Impulse Space, an in-space transportation company, and Space Network Services, a French satellite company, announced the signing of a rideshare agreement. The agreement will see Impulse transport several SNS satellites to a geostationary orbit. Rocket Lab's launch attempt on the 18th saw an abort post-ignition. Upon hitting 0 in the countdown and the engines igniting, the internal flight computer initiated an abort after finding a ground system issue. This resulted in an engine shutdown and a mission abort due to an instantaneous launch window. The flight would go on to successfully launch on the 20th.
All right, time to wrap it up. Zach, did you have anything that caught your interest this week?
Yeah, first off, I think the Intuitive Machines news, that contract, one, really big, lots of money, but also just developing that communications relay technology and talking about setting up satellite constellations around the moon. That's exciting and interesting to me, especially since I'm all about the Artemis program. So I enjoyed reading that. I think the New Glenn stuff, the launch cadence, that's also exciting. I like that we're getting more new rockets and we're getting an idea of, I guess, what the companies ideally want to launch, and there are quite a few of them per year. And so for me, more rockets, more launches is a good thing. And then finally, the investigation into the Ariane 6 anomaly. It was fairly minor. It was towards the end of the mission. They got most of their payload delivered. There was a couple that got left on board, so it's not like it was huge rocket exploding bad. But it's good that they were able to figure out what went wrong and started already taking steps to correct that for their future launches. But that's me. What about you? What caught your interest?
Yeah, for me, the Polaris Dawn, the return, I suppose, on the 15th, that was a tremendous accomplishment. Having the first private spacewalk is a pretty big deal. Sounds like they had a pretty exciting time up there. And the other thing that caught my attention this week is Sierra Space's oxygen reactor that they're working on, and the successful test to see that everything was working so well, recently conducted, and then the fact that they can even do that autonomously, no input involved. That's a big step, I think. Hopefully we'll be able to see some more science along those routes to enable us to have more of that future human activity on the moon. And that's what I'm super excited about as well. But that's enough from us. We'd love to hear from you. Please leave us a comment and let us know what you think.
All right, and we will actually be gone next week, so please join us in 2 weeks for more Beyond Earth news.
Thanks for watching.